The enormous magnolia tree stood watch by the south portico of the White House for nearly 2 centuries. Its dark green, glossy leaves shaded politicians and heads of state. Its ivory flowers bloomed through times of peace and war. It is the oldest tree on the White House grounds, a witness to Easter egg rolls and state ceremonies, a resignation, a plane crash, all the tumult and triumph of 39 presidencies. But the iconic magnolia is now too old and badly damaged to remain in place, the White House announced Tuesday. At the recommendation of specialists from the National Arboretum, First Lady Melania Trump called for a large portion of the tree to be removed this week. The decision, first reported by CNN, comes after decades of attempts to hold the aged tree up with a steel pole and cables. Arboretum experts said that rigging is now compromised and that the wood of the magnolia's trunk is too delicate for further interventions. Any other tree in that condition would have been cut down years ago. But this is not any other tree. According to White House lore, the stately evergreen was brought to Washington as a seedling by Andrew Jackson. The magnolia was a favorite tree of his wife, Rachel, who had died just days after he was elected. Jackson blamed the vicious campaign during which his political opponents questioned the legitimacy of his marriage for his wife's untimely death. The new planting, which came from the couple's Tennessee farm, the Hermitage, would serve as a living monument to her in the place she despised. Before her death, Rachel had reportedly said, "I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God than live in that palace in Washington." Long after Jackson left office, his magnolia remained. Other trees were planted to supplement it, and the tree became a fixture in White House events. Herbert Hoover reportedly took breakfast and held cabinet meetings at a table beneath its sprawling branches. Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke with Winston Churchill in its shade. Richard Nixon strode past it as he left the White House for the last time after his resignation. In 1994, a Maryland man piloting a stolen plane clipped the tree before suffering a deadly crash against the White House wall. And for decades, the magnolia was featured on the back of the $20 bill. No tree on the White House grounds can reveal so many secrets of romance and history, longtime White House butler Alonzo Fields once told the Associated Press. In 2006, when the National Park Service initiated a witness tree protection program to study historically and biologically important trees in the Washington area, the Jackson magnolia was at the top of the program's list. By then, the tree was tall enough to reach the White House's second-story windows and had already eclipsed the maximum life expectancy for its species about 150 years. According to a report from the NPS program, workers attempted to repair a gash in the tree in the 1940s. But within a few decades, much of the interior portion of the tree had decayed, leaving behind a rind of brittle wood. Those surviving portions were held in place by a 30-foot pole and guy wires.